record on this computer, and then I'm just going to share my screen, guys. Okay. Right. Okie dokie. So, no. Right, okay, so I've called this one Touching Base, and the reason that I've called it that is because we've got quite a few new partners that have joined up. I do try and record all of these and send them out to everyone. It's just whether people get an opportunity to sit down and watch them. So I just thought we'd just recap over some of the stuff and also talk about the new partner structure, because as some of you are aware, you know, Dave mentioned that there are going to be some changes to the actual system and how it works. So, first slide, welcome newbies. The getting trained, I've just put the first point here, the getting started training. Now, it's really important, guys, if I know a lot of you were on that Zoom where Fitz was going through everything with the back office. I think actually that's really, really important and key, because it shows you sort of the donuts and it shows you the targets that we need to get to in order to unlock certain bonuses and unlock certain positions as well. So I think if you haven't had this get started training, it's worthwhile us booking you in with Fitz, and Fitz is quite happy to do one-on-ones over Zoom to get everyone up to speed with the back office and how this all works. I think the whole process with ZinZino becomes clearer and clearer as you start to progress in the business. So, like for example, Heather's joined us newly. You know, Heather's quite newly joined us. But the thing is, I think as soon as Heather starts putting through a few customer orders or starts adding a few partners, then you know, naturally you start to get to grips a bit more with the back office, because it's only at those points that you'll have questions for us. So for example, I don't know, if Sharon's, for example, got a partner and they're now sat in the back office, that will spark that question towards like, what do I do next? Where do I put them? So don't panic too much with the back office, guys, is what I'm trying to say, because as time goes on, you will naturally start to pick it up more and more. Me and Martin have been in this 5 or 6 weeks, and we've only just started to get our head around the credits and the balance credits and all the rest of it. So what I would say is don't panic too much if you're not completely, you know, it's a lot of information that you get, but as time goes on, we can arrange these get started trainings with Fitz if you already haven't had one.
When you've signed up, Hannah will have sent you as well our sort of partner training, which is 3 presentations. One of them's a recorded presentation, and there's 2 sort of like videos where we're showing you different things.
Yeah.
Like make sure that you just watch those. One of them, the presentation, it looks like a presentation that we sent out before, but it's a much more expanded version, and it actually really explains how the binary system works. And I think a lot of people, when they see it, think, oh, I've seen this one before, but it's not. So just double check that you go on that one, because it's a much longer presentation, and that goes through the fast start system, the binary system, to a basic degree. So, you know, because we get a lot of people asking us, and they've not gone through that presentation.
Yeah.
So that presentation does answer a lot of sort of basic questions.
And the next point I just want to go over quickly is the important numbers. I think me and Martin were probably a bit guilty with the ones who signed up with us earlier, of not reiterating how important these numbers are. Now, I know a lot of us had that training with Fitz, and I think he really cemented the fact that this 4-4-10 is very important, not only to get you active within ZinZino, but also to bank credits. So what that basically means is all you guys, the majority of you will already have partners that have been placed underneath you, because obviously me and Martin have added quite a few in. And what Fitz, just to reiterate what Fitz was saying, that if there is activity going on in your leg, you will be getting credits for that. So you will be banking credits. So based on on mine and the sales that's going on, the sales that's going on underneath you, you will be banking credits. If you're not active within Zinzino, those credits get flushed out every week. So this whole 4-4-10 is very important. And just to sort of revisit that, that's 4 product subscriptions within 30 days. So that's like a month. So you've got a month to get 4 product subscriptions and 4 partners on board. And then the 10 is within 60 days, they want you to have 10 product subscriptions. I mean, once you start selling this, you'll find that 4 product subscriptions is a piece of piss. It's really easy. It's 2 patients on 2, or 2 clients or 2 customers on 2 products each. So I think this is just a key point to reiterate, that we need to all be aiming for that 4-4-10. So 4 partners, 4 product subscriptions within the first 30 days, and then the 10 product subscriptions within the first 60 days. Now,
it doesn't matter if you don't get it within the 30 days, but that's what you're trying to aim for.
That's
if you get it within 6 to 8 weeks, fine. But that's why they put the 4 weeks on it.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say also is that Zinzino is very sales focused, guys. So say, for example, Martin started selling this to his clients or his patients, and he actually hit Fast Silver, which is the second sort of target, without actually having 4 partners on board. And that's just through his product sales. So all I'm trying to say is that Zinzino really, really credit you if you have got product sales. So they're trying to persuade people that they don't just want a recruiting network marketing system, because a lot of them, unfortunately, these traditionally Herbalife, Arbonne, it's basically just a big recruitment agency. They go out, recruit loads of people, whereas with Zinzino, they want that sale to customer as well. So that's just one thing to bear in mind.
The other thing is, obviously, you need those initial 4 product subscriptions to activate your account effectively, as Hannah was saying, banking the credits. Now that, like I said, Hannah said it could be 2 people. It could just be 1 person on 4 products. It might be that obviously you as a partner are getting your oil, but it might be that you think, I want some Viva and prebiotic. And if you think you're going to want the product for yourself, then put yourself as a customer. I'm not suggesting you do that, but just to start with, if you initially think, there's 2 other products that I want on a monthly basis, then sign yourself up as your own customer.
That's an option.
And do it.
That's an option. It's an option. The other thing I've put on here, guys, is templates. Now, I've sent out a Word document with different templates, and I do try and send things out quite regularly. Anything that I get sent, then I forward on to you guys as well. I think once you've pushed through the system a few times, you'll know what works for you. I know quite a few of you now have been talking to potential partners, and it's only when you start to talk to potential partners that you get your own rhythm and you get your own points. So use the templates as as just like a basic, and then you can sort of alter it as you go along. And then I've just put a further training with Fitz. If anyone has missed out on that, then it's worthwhile we get you booked in. Okay. Right, selling the product. I just wanted to, again, reiterate these and go through, Martin was going to give us some tips when it comes to regarding selling the product. Martin sold, to be fair, in the shortest space of time in Zinzino. I think he's broken the record of selling the most product to patients. So I think Martin's a really good person to give you a few pointers a few pointers as to how to actually sell this, and what to say to potential clients. It doesn't, and I know a lot of people may think, well, Martin's a doctor, so it's easy for him, or he's already got a patient base. But I think the more you talk to people, the more you start banking the golden nuggets that work. So I just wanted to pass over to you, and you give some key pointers of how you sell it, and also talking about the product USPs and the health benefits, because that's what people want to hear.
Okay. I mean, obviously, like I have my own customers and things, and I know some of us here have that and some of us don't. But I think the important thing is, first of all, is to whoever you're talking to about this product, and you start getting onto the subject of supplements, is let them start to talk, because people will naturally start telling you about what problems they're having or their conditions. I rang a patient up the other day, so let's just say to her that we were booking in, we was taking bookings again for July, good patient. And I said, how are you getting on and everything? And she started telling me all about her ulcerative colitis. So I thought, well, I'll run with this for a little bit and see where this gets to. And so I was like, I said, you never told me you had ulcerative colitis. And then obviously, you know, and then she started telling me about that sort of stuff and pain and inflammation and things. So obviously, I mean, I was saying, well, what supplements do you take? And then she said, well, I don't take any. And I said, well, you definitely need some. So I think the first thing is get them talking about themselves, because you can start to do that. And I think key points are, you know, that, you know, what you can't do is start saying that that a supplement that you sell is going to cure a disease or something like that. But what you can do is say that a lot of these diseases, like autoimmune conditions and the ulcerative colitis, you know, chronic pain, arthritis,
IBS,
psoriasis, all these kind of things. So they are all made worse on the background of inflammation. So really get back to the point of, like, you know, did you know that 98, 95 and 98% of the population are severely omega-3 deficient? It causes our cells to be imbalanced and causes inflammation. Keep it really simple. Also things like, you know, things like gut health and a lot of immune problems, and even with COVID and things, immune problems, 70% of, did you know 70% of your immune system is in your gut? And so
serotonin's a great one as well from the gut.
For mood and things like that. So start talking about that and see where your products there key into it. I've given some really good, I've given a sort of template of things that I've asked for, but try and get an in, try and find out if they're already taking supplements. And also, if they are taking supplements, say, well, how do you know they're the right ones for you? And, you know, have you ever done a test? So really come back. So the USP of this entire system really is not really the grade of the products. I can talk to you about how good the products are, because I do think they're very, very good. But the real USP is the testing system. We had a guy, me and Chris, on a Zoom today, and he was saying, well, I've done MLM before with different products. And one of the problems is that, you know, people, you know, they use it 1 minute and we don't use it the next. Well, with the best analogy is, you take my hormone patients don't use their hormones when they feel like it. They don't use them for a month and then forget to take it. They don't do that because I did a blood test to show that they were low, and I showed them the results. And then I retested them 2 months later to say, and saw them and said, there's your results. Your hormone levels are great. How are you feeling? And they were telling me how the improvements are. This is now the same with this system. It's very similar to that system as it is with this supplement. So we've got a test that validates and tells the patient why they need this supplement. It gives them a starting point, and when they have a repeat test 120 days later, and that gives them the assurance that what they're taking works for them. And there's never really been an easier system than this before. So that's the USP. You can also talk about how good the balanced soil is. It's got polyphenols and all the rest of it. So try to talk about those sorts of things. Try to link it to health benefits, lowering inflammation, improving the gut. When you talk about the multivitamins, say how this multivitamin's got so many different minerals and vitamins. It's not the highest dose multivitamin for things around, but it's certainly got a very good broad range. And to get that kind of nutrition from your diet, you'd have to eat 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day, which would
get fat.
So the 3 pillars: gut health, inflammation, nutrition. They're what you're trying to do. That'll improve most ailments and trying to get people back in balance.
And I think as well, guys, I think everyone will agree. I think when you start talking about something that you actually passionately believe in as well, that makes such a difference. And I think that's when you're talking about it to patients, from what I've heard, and when I've spoken to a few patients as well, or customers. I think that when you know your stuff and you know about the products, it's very easy then to start, you know, talking, not selling it as such, but informing them and educating them about it. A lot of people don't know any of this shit. So the minute you start talking to them about it, it sparks their interest. And like Martin said, people love talking about themselves. Get them talking about themselves. Ask them questions. What do you take? Oh, have you got have you ever suffered with anything like that? Oh, yeah. You know, then they love it. And it sort of comes naturally, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So that's sort of a few pointers around selling the products.
The other thing is, there's also another. I've also given another. Are you coming on to partner stuff in a bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The next one I just the next one I just put on is the partner conversation, because obviously we've got two aspects to this. We've got the customer and we've got the partner. I did send this already in. I bet you're all bloody sick of my freaking messages popping up every 2 seconds. Absolute zinzino kino. But I've forwarded this already, because I think this is the formula that me and Martin use. Or this is, and it sounds horrible saying formula, because it's like we've like, conducted some sort of weird magic spell that we put on people. But what I'm saying is, these are the important pointers that we always ensure that we talk to partners about. Now, one of the first bullet point that I've put here is the importance of the 3-way call. And I think obviously once you've made a connection with somebody and you've told them the outline of it, what it basically is, I think it's a really good idea to arrange a 3-way conversation. Now, that can be with Martin, it can be with Fitz, it can be with, I know Sharon and Andre had one with one of Sharon's prospects. We can utilize our team depending on that prospect. If I've got a guy that's he's a sales and marketing background, I'll say to Chris, jump on this with me, because Chris can identify with that prospect better than me and Martin can. Or for example, if I've got a potential PT, I can then utilize one of the team. So all I'm saying is, I think that 3-way call is very important, as it validates it. And like, for example, a great example of this actually is Zainab on with us now. No, she's not. Zainab, for example, yesterday she had her sister on a call with me, and and I was talking about it, telling her everything, blah 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 blah, and then I could see that she was kind of like teetering, and then I was like, Martin, do you want to just jump on this call? And the minute he started to talk about it, her interest it changed. So that just sort of shows you that certain people, I think, that it just takes that bit of reassurance.
It's a different perspective.
Different perspective.
And
sometimes it works. It really works.
I think sometimes as well, when you're the person that's reached out to them, then they naturally have that sort of thing. You become the salesperson. So as you might be the professional selling it, but because you've reached out, your role in this is more as a salesperson. And what they want the expert. Now, you might be the expert, but unfortunately, what you might have to do is lean on your team as the expert, because what it does is it kind of gives that third-party reassurance. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you can talk to this, but the next bit, what I often the next 3 things are the 3 things that when I get on a 3-way call, when people ask me about my perspective on it, these are the 3 things that I always come back to. And I did it with you today, Chris, didn't I? With the guy that we were talking about, with the 3 things.
And I think it's quite nice to say there are 3 things, because it just makes it quite simple for people. But I think number 1, obviously, is the product. And we all know, we've all done quite a bit of research at this stage now. We've done, just checking if anyone's, sorry, I think Zainab's just messaged me. Okay. And I think the thing is with the products, we all know quite a bit about the products now, about the quality of them, about the testing system, the demand for them, Paul Clayton and Paul Clayton's involvement in them, the whole omega-3 thing. We all know quite a lot about the products, and I think obviously as a potential partner looking to come into this business, then the product is got to be good. It has to be good. So that's the number 1.
And the test, lean on the test. Because the test is basically that is like the certificate of authenticity that you don't have to prove to them how good it is.
Yeah.
Here's the test. Also,
one thing I would say as well is, I know Dave's put in the group chat the business presentation.
Yes, I forwarded that.
What I would do as well is, sometimes that business presentation gives you a systematic way of explaining things very, very simply. So if you really are stuck from a pitching point of view, or not from a pitch, well, if you're struggling to talk to a partner or a customer, I would look at that PowerPoint presentation, take some things out, put some things in. But I know that I'll start using it because it systematically takes people through a process. Because what actually finally sold me on, Martin had sold me anyway, but when I watched Dave's presentation, it was a bit salesy, don't get me wrong, but when I watched Dave's presentation, it cemented me why I should be doing this business and why it's such a good opportunity, because he systematically took me through a process, and that's the way the human mind works. So that if you ever take in customers or partners and you're thinking, I don't know where to start, I don't know where to finish, and you're going off in tangents, that presentation will keep you on track if you learn it.
And that, yeah, Chris is right. And that's in the back office. So I think I sent a little video, I forwarded it from Dave, where you can find it in the back office and obviously edit it, put slides in or take slides out or do whatever. So yeah, so I think that's obviously the first thing. The second thing that we talk about, the network marketing thing, this is a big one. The network marketing element, the MLM element of this business puts so many people off. And I think this is probably the biggest the biggest sort of opposition that we ever hear, don't we? We love the product, we love the testing, we love you guys, you sound like you've got a great team, but it's the MLM aspect. And I think the way to deal with this really is to sort of talk about the fact that it's not a pyramid scheme. A lot of people feel, immediately think of a pyramid, that they're getting a slice, they're what they sell, you're going to get a slice of, and the way that it's sort of, that the money's handed out, they've got this warped view of that. So I think this is really important and key, that everyone has got a set answer as to how they, like Chris has said, with structure, how you answer this question, because this question is going to come up. Is this a pyramid? I'm not interested in a network marketing. Is this like Herbalife? These questions are always going to come up. And I think one of the key points that we always say is obviously about the binary system, and also the fact that the team above always are adding to the team below, so you're getting help that way as well. And also the fact that it's not uncommon in these binary systems that people below you, so say for example me and Martin have brought Chris and April in, it's not uncommon that Chris and April will do better than we will do. So you can actually, if you're good and you know what you're doing, you can do better than your sponsor. So it's not really a pyramid scheme. It's a binary scheme, and we sort of refer it to as teamwork marketing, don't we?
We do, yeah. And also, I mean, you know what? My advice with this as well is, and someone was approaching me about a month ago, we started a couple of months ago, with this ketone drink thing, this MLN. And I went, oh, this is MLN, and they went, oh, well, it started, it's community marketing, and they started giving it all these other names. And do you know what? I think the best advice I would give is I'd approach this head on and actually embrace that it's MLM and turn it into a positive and tell them what all the good things about it. Don't shy away from it, and that's the way I think you win. And like you said, this isn't a pyramid. This isn't a heavily recruited business. This is very much more about your sales as well. This is a product that this company is very much focused on selling the product, not just selling the product onto partners down below. Talk about how that we are building this team, and as Hannah said, when you are in a classic system, you're kind of left to build your own team. Whereas with this, you're not. For me, I obviously want the team below me. They are there obviously adding to my overall team, but I'm also adding to their team as well. So it's a two-way system. And to take that on.
I was just going to say that me and Sharon were talking about this the other night, and I think one of the important things with this, if it ever comes up or you ever feel stumped about it or whatever, is talk about your own experience. Authenticity is the key with this, because every single one of us on this call, when our partner or our sponsor said to us, this is MLM, how did you feel? I was like, oh my God, this is so cringy. I don't want to do this. So I think using your own story is the best way also to combat it. You can say, do you know what? Whoever, a potential partner, I was in the same position as you. I thought the same. I thought it was going to be really cringy. I had really negative, connotations of it. But as I've learned more about this system, this is what I've learned. And I think that works because you can relate to the person, because we all thought it was a bag of shit, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I was exactly going to say that. What on the Zoom today with Chris, again, and Prospect, I started off with, when this was first brought to me, I didn't want to like it. I kind of had this sort of, it's MLN, I didn't want, but it's, like I said, don't try and convince them or whatever, but tell them how you felt, and actually then how your story and how that's evolved, and how you now maybe having fun doing it,
Yeah.
you like the system, you like being part of a team.
And the other thing is,
turn it into a positive.
exactly. And the other thing, just one other point to add here. Also, I've put here, mention people that are in our team, because I think that's sometimes important as well, because it gives us weight. You know, if we say that we've got a team we've got medical professionals, we've got a few doctors, we've got a few dentists, we've got a few sales people that are in sales and marketing, we've got a few amazing aesthetic sales reps, we've got nutritionists, we've got, you know, so I think really the team also sells it as well. You know, if I'm a prospective person, I'm thinking, bloody hell, they've got, you know, all these, you know, people that know their shit. You know, it's not like we've just gone and got a bunch of, you know, whoever, corner shop owners and taxi drivers and whoever, you know, potentially those could come and join Zinzino, but our specific team is made up of a very special group of people. So I think you can use that as well when you're talking about the network marketing. The third thing we've put here is the potential to make a lot of money. Now, this is what really spikes up a lot of people's, you know, it spikes their ears up, because when you start talking to them about what's in it for them, that's when they start to really engage, because, you know, it's all great, the products are great, the network, you've got a lovely dream team, oh, isn't it all unicorn and rainbows, but what money am I making out of it? And that's one of the things that I think that does need addressing quite early on. You know, the potential that to make a lot of residual income. We are at a very early stage in this company. You know, me and Martin were looking at Herbalife. Herbalife have got 52 million members globally. Zinzino have got 800. That's where we are at. We are at we're the first
One Mondo group's
layer.
got 800 members.
We're the first layer of people, and I think the opportunity, if you do put a bit, and the thing is, it's not one of those guys where you could just come and join in it and do fuck all and you'll end up being a millionaire. It's not going to happen. I think if you're willing to put that bit of work in, that bit of time in, as a side, you know, as a side job, you don't have to quit your day job. You just put a bit of time aside to do this. The opportunity to make a significant amount of residual income is very, very high. So timing is key, and that sort of really reflects back on the network marketing thing. You know, if you were to say to someone, do you want to join Herbalife 20 years ago? You know, I mean, the guys who joined 2015, 20 years ago are freaking laughing all the way to the bank, you know, because they joined at the right time. So I think that's another thing that we can use to our advantage. And we love this one, don't we? The Norwegian NASDAQ. They're a company that are here to stay. It's not just a floozy company that's a load of bollocks.
Also, you know, say a bit about the company and its ethos. This company's vision is to become like the household name for supplements, and the R&D, the research that they're doing into product development to make different, you know, to expand their portfolio and the technology behind it is amazing. So I think the company's giving a good message off.
Yeah, defo. Right, the new partner system. So I had a Zoom with Dave earlier this morning because I wanted to get my head around this so that I could, he's coming on in 2 minutes. I wanted to get my head around this so that I could then, you know, tell you guys what the deal is. Right, so the problem that they've got in the UK is that the UK have got this direct sales association or whatever it's called. Chris probably knows, I don't have a clue. There's something sales association that basically what their problem is that they don't want, Zinzino do not want to be seen as a company that is promoting recruitment. As in, when you take a new partner on, they buy an ultimate pack. That is X amount of points for the sponsor. And then, you know, what you're ending up with is you're ending up with a bunch of people that are just putting people on ultimate packs. And that's how their business is growing. So to be compliant with this direct sales association of the UK, what they are now saying is that there is an option, and I'll come back to this in a second, an option of the fact that when you take on a new partner, you can actually join them to Zinzino for free. So they don't pay anything. They don't buy an ultimate pack. When they join for free, right? Do you know how you guys, when you look in your back office into your organizations, there's you, and then you've got a right leg and a left leg, yeah? And that's how you can grow your organization. If you join for free, oh, hang on, let me just, Dave's just entering. If you, oh, hang on. Sorry, guys, just one sec. I don't know if he's on now, actually. Let's see if he is. I think he's joining now. So if you join for free, then you remember what I said about the right leg and the left leg. If you join a partner up for free, they only have one leg on their organization. They don't have two. So you do need to buy a partner pack, in order to open you up as a proper partner. But the reason that they've done this is to give that person a 7-day cooling off period, where they can go away and think about it and do whatever, and then they come back, and then they will purchase a partner pack. Now the thing is with this, guys, is that I don't want to confuse you too much, but the system still allows for the old method. So for the method that we've all been using anyway, so the basic pack, the health protocol, and the ultimate partner kit, you can still do that on the system. And the reason that they brought this up is to basically be in line with the Direct Selling Association. So I mean, me and is Dave on right now? I think he's. Hey, there he is. Hi, Dave. Hiya. Hey. Oh, sorry. Let me unmute Dave. Yeah, so guys, this is I've got a little slide actually to introduce Dave, but this is what I was going to say is that I'll actually let Dave talk about this, because me and Dave talked about it earlier this morning. But as I was saying, it's basically to be in line with the to be compliant, basically. But the old system is still available for us to use. So if you have got a partner and you want to bring them in on a health protocol or a ultimate partner kit, you can still use that. There's nothing stopping us doing that. So you're not going to get an error, this has not gone through. There's nothing stopping us doing that. But to be in line with the regulations, this is what we've had to sort of say, that potentially you could bring someone on for free without having to purchase anything, giving them 7 days, and then they would have to buy a partner pack in order to open up their organization, so that they've got a right leg and a left leg. So I was just gonna, here we go. Here's Dave's little slide. I was like, Dave. So basically, guys, I'm going to introduce Dave. Dave, are you there?
I am.
Okay. Yeah, so Dave, I was just saying to everyone that I was sort of earwigging and listening to you and Martin and Chris when you were talking to Chris's potential prospect. And the thing is, guys, Dave has obviously got a lot more experience in Zinzino and network marketing than me and Martin put together. So I just thought it'd be...
And then times it by about 10.
Times it by 10, exactly.
Yeah.
So I just thought it'd be a really good idea to sort of introduce you, Dave, to all of our team, and for you to give a little bit of background on you and like how you got into this, and a little bit of background into, because I really like the story about you going to Norway, meeting Orion, and how it all came about for you. And I think it'd be a really nice story to share with everyone.
Great. And well, afternoon, everyone. I see some faces I recognize and some that I've seen names pop up on some of the lives. So it's nice to meet some of you, and hopefully we get to, once this lockdown moves on and we can start traveling again. Hey, some good news, by the way. I digress. It's just coming to my mind. This is how big United Kingdom is going to be. Marco Passanante and his fiancée, Philippa, have just got themselves a property in London and will be moving here in 2 weeks.
Hooray! That's good.
That's how big the UK is going to be. Okay, so, but a little bit of my story then. I call myself a dumb chef because that's what I did. I actually went to catering college. Then I was asked to leave, so I didn't actually complete. And there was nothing, I did nothing wrong, I assure you, but I was association. Actually, there's a key lesson there. I was associating with the wrong people that were doing wrong things, and I labeled. So prior to that, I actually went down to Lympstone and did my Marine training. And I was going into the Marines, but I hadn't had my acceptance, and I got accepted into catering college. And fear of loss, even back then, I thought I'd take what was given to me in case I lost out. So that was my background. At 19 years young, I bought for my sins. I'm a man of faith now, so don't scare you off. But at 19, ironically, I bought a church in Worthing. And I turned it into a wine bar, which is now the busiest wine bar 30 years on. And I've always been entrepreneurial. And so I don't know about, some of you are about half my age. I'm 52 now, but back then, in the evenings, the bars used to be very busy, but towards the latter end of what's called closing time, they don't close anymore, do they, until the last person crawls out. But 11 o'clock was closing time. So about 10:15, our bar used to be very empty because people were making their way to a taxi rank, which don't exist anymore because we've got Uber, how things move on. And so reality is my bar was very, very quiet. And I was 20 and I was thinking, how do I actually generate more volume here? And everything's about generating volume, right? Whether you're a dentist, whether you're an architect, whether you're an accountant or a chef, it's about creating volume. And I partnered with the local entrepreneur in the town who owned a nightclub. And so I said, what if I could get people, because most people didn't go to nightclubs early, they went late. And so the nightclub here was an old manor house on the top of a hill outside of town. And people were spending a fortune at the taxi rank to get there. So a small investment. Why don't I go and buy 2 or 3 transit vans, renovate them, and offer anyone who was in my bar at 10:15 to 11 a free shuttle to the nightclub? I took more in that 45 minutes than I did in most days. So because people were spending at that time. So my background's licensing. So I eventually had enough of that. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to the New York and just have a little time out. And I ended up staying 2 years. And that's how I got into the industry. Someone asked me if I'd take a look at a business opportunity. I had long blonde hair, quicksilver shorts, red kicker boots with 29 tags because I thought it was cool at the time, playing beach volleyball, and someone dragged me to a presentation and someone showed me a board and some circles. And that's how I got in the business, or the industry, I should say. So my first 6 years did very well in a company called Amway, learned a lot. And this is the key here, where you lot are very blessed, is that it's not getting in a company. It's not even getting in Zinzino. Do you know, there's going to be people who get in Zinzino and still won't succeed because it's who you get in with. It's the team you get on. And so I joined the industry, and in within 18 months, no social media, still snail mail, no mobile phones. Well, they were handbags back then. But reality was I put 4,000 people into my team in the 90s when I had to educate them how a bottle of washing up liquid that costs 4 times as much would last twice as long. And the point of the message is, the reason why we have such an incredible product and why we don't retail it is because it's a educational product. It's a story that's attached to it. So I learned the principles of how to build a team in my early 20s. Came out of the industry for about 22 years. I did very well, but I went into advertising, and then foolishly at 42 years young, I bought a derelict Little Chef restaurant. Have you heard that exquisite cuisine, a Little Chef restaurant? It's actually near Gatwick Airport. If you've ever been down to Brighton for a bank holiday, there used to be a very dogleg road, dual carriageway, that a lot of deaths happened because there was a lot of boy racing going on. And so basically my restaurant was actually a derelict Little Chef restaurant, and Jamie Oliver couldn't even get it to work with his concept of 15. And there I come along thinking I can make it work. So I invested £250,000 into a restaurant that was literally derelict and boarded up. I borrowed £250,000 from RBS Bank. And then I sat there and thought, excuse me, there's ladies here, I use French. Oh shit, what have I done? Basically, I sat there, and you know why I bought that restaurant? Because I was reading Duncan Benentine's book. It's never too late to do something that exists, providing you do it better. Right? There's a story. And by the way, I'm uneducated. I'd like to share by telling a story. Why is that important? Well, Amigas are the biggest nutritional product out there, $50 billion a year in revenue. So it exists, but we do it better. Because what? Why? Because we have a test. And so as I developed that restaurant, I don't think the guys know this, Duncan Benentine said, do something better. Well, prior to that, I was a national sales director for an advertising company that did local search. So if I wanted a dentist in Worthing, because Hannah's so good at search engine optimization, Up would come her website, and I'll go, but that's Cheshire. She was great at optimization, so it would be an irrelevant search. And then became local search, dentist in location, right? I headed up that with a guy who created smart technology called Pace, which is skyboxes. And my job was to say to Hannah, grab a group of ladies, and today we're gonna hit hairdressers in York, and you'd be on there selling listings. I had 180 call salespeople doing over $1 million a month in sales, in advertising. Most people never turned up Monday morning because they were 19 to 20. They were still sleeping from Saturday. Friday, they'd go to lunch at midday. And so that was a big churn. So I'd seen the corporate world. I'd seen the traditional entrepreneur world. And at 44 years young, around that age, I'm a single dad. Let me see, she's 9 now. So yeah, 43. I'm a single dad. I'm working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. I own the restaurant, but the bank owns it. I get up to 22 stone, an ex-rugby man, but that's still not good. And I collapse and go into a coma for 3 days. I'm a single dad. I had a 16-year-old son waking up my 1-year-old daughter so a child mother could come in because I was at work at 4 in the morning. I didn't get home till midnight. And there was my 16-year-old son because I was a single dad. I had no option. And so I'm working hard, but I'm getting further in debt. And I collapsed, going into a coma. Here we are. They give me 2 reasons, stress and poor nutrition. So I got back into the industry, network marketing, because I looked and went nutritional concepts on YouTube. And I saw this shake company called Visalis Vi. It was drop 10 pounds in 90 days, give 10 meals to children. And I got excited about the ability of getting back in, one, the industry, 2, being able to have a nutritional experience. And in 20 months, made $500,000. I lost 6 stone, and I started pointing at the picture. Hey, Chris, look at my before and after. And do you know what? The story, not that he needs to lose weight. I mean, he's probably the size of my left thigh still today, okay? But I was sharing stories that had no proof, only physicality. And I was with that company for 3 years, found out some things I didn't like about the leadership. And Chris introduced me to an incredible guy yesterday who actually vouched for that. And then, so for the last 2-3 years, I've been looking for a place where I could, if I was going to build something of substance, I could get I call it throw my heart across the bar. And last April, I'm sitting here, I've been offered a corporate job. There's a long story, but I want a corporate job for $250,000 a year. And Marco Passanante had been calling me for 3 years. You got to take a look at Zinzino. And here's my response. For 3 years, Marco, what are you on? It's oil. And it's not even sexy. That was my response. Why? I came from an ignorant perspective. And then eventually last April, he says, would it hurt for you to come and meet Orion? And that's where he got me, that line. This is a great line to use, people. Hey, would it hurt to take a look and see how the test works? Hey, would it hurt to take a look and see if this could be something you and I could partner with? Hey, would it hurt? No, it wouldn't, would it? If people are open, that's a great line. So that's how he got me in. I flew to Oslo, met Orion, and I asked 3 questions. Why do we need it? So I got educated why we need it. You are pretty much all of you know why we need it, okay? Because you're in that sort of sector. I didn't understand. I heard about nutrition. I knew about supplements. Didn't know if they worked or not. Second, why do we need yours? And remember this, I've been in the industry now for 3 or 4 years, tried a couple of things, had some success, but also had some failures. I just didn't know if I wanted to do it again. And then last April, I went to meet Orion, and then he told me why we needed it, why theirs worked better. And then he said, it's because of the test. And that's when I pointed at the founder and said, there's the scam. There's the scam. Of course I'm going to be out of balance because you want me to buy your oil. That's logical, right? And so when he told me it was an independent laboratory, then he had my attention. And so here I was, and you don't know the whole story, but I actually had a job offer to be a vice president of a $1 billion company called Nerium, or I invested €1,000 in a box. I decided to invest €1,000 into the box. And why? Because it had a 12-month opportunity to get your money back? No. I mean, that was a great incentive. But I saw Orion's and Hilda's face, and when they told me where they were going, that they were going to go from 180,000 customers last year to 283 this year. That wasn't the number they used, but they were going to go from 180,000 to 1 million by 2025. But right now, it looks like they're going to do it by the back end of 22, 23. Then 20 million by 2035 and 100 million by 2050. And I'm thinking, even if they only get 25% of that success, we fouled our way there. That's great. I want a piece of this pie. And when I started learning about what Paul Clayton had done and how credible he was, I was thinking a dumb chef can literally learn how to say, hey, April, is health important to you? Yeah, great. Look, if there was a test that you and I could take together, would you check out a 2-minute video? Folks, that's the line I use today. It will be the line I use all the time. And on that basis, I've put in nearly 4,500 group customers in 11 months. The thing is, a lot of you are really experienced and professional. Though you may know the detail, don't try to tell the person on the street because they don't want to know. You could tell them about polyphenols. All they're interested in, what's it taste like? I mean, they'll invest more in their Netflix than they will in their health. So if you let the tool do the work and you be the messenger, that's how this will grow for you. But the UK just officially opened. I sat there with Orion. When he told me about the test, I said, right, I'm prepared to go to work. And so I went to work. Not crazy like these guys. I mean, these guys are wiping the floor with what they're doing. But I knew that the UK has heard of network marketing for too many decades, where people have got involved, caught up in this coffee, this tea, this shake, that shake, this, oh, look at me, and oh, it's easy to do, stay at home in your PJs, point and click. That's the wrong message that's been going out on social media. So I tell people, if you want to change some things in your life, you have to change some things in your life. But let me ask you, Ruth, Heather, Faye, Sharon, I share this with people. I say, look, would you carve out 10 to 12, 15 hours a week if I could show you a proven pathway to £4,000 to £5,000 a month in the next 3, 6, 12 months? Yeah, thumbs up from Sharon. Okay, Ruth, Faye goes, but you understand, right? So I tell people what I want them to understand. It's going to take a little bit of time, but then I tell them what to expect. In those 10 or 15 hours a week, 5 of those, you want to be on your team calls. Why? You want to learn. You want to listen. You want to utilize them. You want to maximize them. Let someone else do the work for you. And those other 10 hours, you're going to just get good. You don't have to be a Martin or a Hannah, right? And you need to be you. But most importantly, I'll tell you, the person who will grow the most in this group will be the person who masters inviting, not the detail. Use the tools, let the plan, let the speaker, let the video, let the plan, brochures, let the tools do the work.
Dave,
so,
say that again. Sorry, the person who do the best is... My
name is Dave Ives. I went to the... No, okay. Say what again?
Say that again. Yeah, no, the bit about mastering the what's go on because guys, I think, you know, obviously I talk to my patients, but this is something that I really need to learn a bit. Is because I know so much about it and knowledge and things. It can be quite hard for me sometimes to really simplify it. So I actually try and spend time listening to people, to like Dave, talking about it because because he explains it in a way that actually to the general person on the street will probably understand it better than when I start talking to them. So I have to try and scale it down, and that's what I've been trying to say to you. But say it again, Dave. Mastering what? Sorry.
So there's two. When I was a young boy, they used to say that those who can get bums on seats are the ones who make the most. Meaning, can you get people to? Back then, it was a hotel presentation. It was a convention. Why? I had to just become a good promoter to get people there and let the speaker from stage tell them exactly what I've been telling Chris for 6 months, but he doesn't listen because I'm too close. And then he tells me, Dave, did you hear Hannah? Oh my Lord, she's changed my life. I'm going, I've been telling you that for 6 months. You don't listen to a word I say.
Dave,
So,
can I also just say something here as well, guys? What I've also found from this is that, you know, I think there's two elements to this. Obviously, there's the product and the knowledge, and as Dave says, you know, the doctors and the Paul Claytons and the Martins and the people that know all that stuff. But there's also a skill to network marketing. That is a whole new arena that we are not used to. The majority of the people here are used to direct sales to either patients or clients or customers, or even talking to peers. We're not actually that clued up with regards to how the whole system works, and what the right things are, what the wrong things are. So that's another thing that I think Dave has got mountains and mountains of knowledge on this that we don't have. So you know, I think and as Dave said, you know, through his story and his life experience, these are things that he's learned through his life experience that I don't have, Martin doesn't have. We're not in that industry. So I think that's another thing that we can really utilize Dave's knowledge and skills to sort of give us a bit of a different dimension of thought. So yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
And the answer to Martin's question, and you're absolutely right, Hannah, is those who master the skill of learning how to invite will make the most. Not those who know the most. Because even when you know it, you don't want to tell people.
But do you know what's funny, Dave? It's very similar. It's very similar to dentistry, right? There can be two dentists literally a stone throw apart. I can have a surgery on one road, and another dentist can have a surgery on the other road. I might be technically, with my skills, so much better than the dentist on the next street. But the dentist on the next street has got the chat, he's got the jokes, he's got the, you know, oh, you're right, how you, he's got the rapport, he's got the rapport with the patients. Who will be busier? That dentist. Doesn't matter at the end of the day. I think people buy off people, and relationships, and ultimately I think that's what's important. I think if we can get a good mix of both, guys, if we can get the knowledge, which a lot of us already have, and we can utilize people like Paul Clayton and all the videos that he's done, and we can use, you know, Dave's aspect of being able to be the networker and being able to get the bums on the seats, then you're onto a winner. I think that's the lethal combination.
So because I know you guys have probably been on a while before I jumped on, so I'll sort of wrap up and answer any questions you may have initially. But the key here is actually, even when you know, don't let them know you know. April asked me a question, right? Hey, that's a great question. With your permission, can I we've got, what about the biotic? Well, you can tell them all about the 5 blended fibers and how they have a slow release mechanism, and how different bacteria are released at different points of the chambers and the 4 chambers of the colon, because it's different bacteria. You could do all that, but you're going to get a few, but you ain't going to get the masses. Hey, I just tell people, hey, do you know that there's a lot of things that happen with the gut, that's where inflammation lives. So, hey, look, with your permission, April, may I send you 2 things? There's a 2-minute video on the biotic, which Paul Clayton just touches on, but there's also a PDF that has all the science and the ingredients. I'll send that over to you. Probably most of your questions are going to be in there. Even if I knew. Why? If April is not a medical, pharmaceutical background, detailed individual, if I regurgitate everything I know, she may go, that's great, but she's going to go home going, yeah, how long is it going to take me to learn all that? Less is, you know, we all brought up less is more. In networking, less is more. You want to be like you know it all. I'm not saying you do, but you know it all, because we come from an environment, a conventional business where by knowing it all, we get attention, we get recognition, we get applause from our peers. In network marketing, you may know it all, but you never have a team. And how many of you would rather have the zeros in the bank and walk in the beaches because you've actually duplicated yourself out of working? So, and here's a key thing. If you've never done this industry before, if you have, you know the important thing. It's not who you know, it's who knows somebody else. Why? Martin and Heather weren't even on, Hannah, were not even on my list 6 months ago. So therefore, if they weren't on my list, none of you were. And people go, I've spoken to everyone. Great, now we go to work. Because I tell you, there's more people you don't know. I call them FTBs, friends to be, strangers, right? And strangers don't know what I don't know. And so some of us are trying to get so good at what we're doing to tell people who knows nothing about it, and they don't know what you forgot to tell them. Tell them less and use a tool.
Also, what I would say is I've kind of taken Dave's tactic this last, I don't know, 7 to 10 days, and we've had, me and Martin have had a partner call today, which I pretty much think he will go for it. If not, he will definitely have the product anyway. And then Andy, I'm signing up after this, who was my top target. He was the one who was actually scared of calling the most because he was most educated, and I found out that he'd done MLM before, and he was actually all for MLM. It was just convincing him about the product and how we were going to go about things. So it just showed, and I did keep it really simple with him. Never really spoke to him for more than 15 minutes. Didn't go into the depths of the product. Got him on a call with Dave and Martin, and let that do the hard work. So I didn't really do much, to be honest with you. I just arranged a call, had a quick 15-minute conversation with him, and then we'll sign him up after this. But I've found that keeping it simple is the way forward, I think.
Has anyone got any? Oh, sorry.
And don't prejudge anyone. Honestly, there's some people that I've got off the phone with, and I think that I can't believe that went that way. Some people have thought we just never.
If you're living in that property, you'd have to go on the mortgage.
Sorry. Go on.
Was that?
Sorry, that was me.
Yeah. So many people who have rang now, especially getting into this now, which I'm starting to enjoy ringing you to, because there'll be people that I just would never think, oh no, they're too busy, they wouldn't get this. And it's amazing. People really surprise you how much they might engage that you didn't think that they would, and people that you think, oh, would definitely go for this, and you almost like you bank them before you even spoke to them. They'll definitely do this, and they don't get it. So it's just, don't prejudge, and just share what you're doing with the people that you are, and see if they want to come on board.
Bit like Chris, some guy got me on a call today with a guy who's actually in the top 250 wealthiest men in United Kingdom, worth over $250 million.
Wow.
But he's made his money in telephony, but he got into networking when he was a boy with water filters, a company called NSA. He loves network marketing. He actually built a telephony company where he made millions and floated it and turned it and took his employees and took them to a telephony network marketing company called Euphony back in the 90s. And so he loves it. But the guy, a bit like Chris, was scared to talk to him because he's worth over $250 million.
Mm.
Then we just found out that he's the #1 distributor in another company. He says, look, but you know what? That company's going to die a death. It's a coffee company, and et cetera, et cetera. He says, but I love your technology of the ability to test. So you're right. So if I gave you some advice, 2 pieces. You all are launching your wellness company. And before you open the doors to your potential market and customer base, you're going to go and talk to them anyway, but who would you want on your board of directors? If you were putting a conventional business together, you'd want your board of directors in place. Now, you would love your family, and you'd love your brother or sister, or you'd want to help them, but they may not be able to bring contribution to your board of directors. Well, your board of directors are generally people that you're scared of talking to. And they're the ones that are going to help you grow the fastest sooner. And so, but keep the invitation very simple. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Good. How's the family? Good. Excellent. Hey, quick one. Look, the other day I was actually asked a question that got me thinking. Someone asked me if health was important to me. And so, is health important to you? Yeah. Why is that? Look, if there was a test that you and I could take together that could show whether we're in or out of balance, would you check out a 2-minute video? That's it. Right? Hey, Faye, how are you? How's things going? Great. How are you getting through this lockdown right now? Yeah, well, it's a bit bizarre and a bit of out-of-body experience. Rapport. Yeah, no, but hey, you know what I found out, Faye? There's lots and Faye. What does Faye do? Because she's muted. What does Faye do?
So Faye,
let's unmute her. Hey, go on.
Hello.
Hey, Faye, what do you do? Nurse. Okay. So, hey, Faye. So how are you getting through this? Well, you're on the front line. We're tribute to you and everything else. But there's a group of nurses that I'm working with, or there's a group of doctors I'm working with. I've aligned myself with a wellness company that's attracting a lot of professionals like you. I'm not trying to get Faye in with me. I want Faye to be open to look at what other nurses are doing. Well, what are they doing? Well, it's a wellness company based out of Norway, and they've got test-based nutrition. I mean, I don't know, you've been on the front line and dealing, you know, there's a difference between, you know, big pharmaceutical medication and actually addressing the core, right? Yeah. Well, this is all about let food be your pharmaconutrition. This company did about 84 million euros last year. They're publicly traded. I think they grew it. Now, you may even know stuff, right? But act like, I think they grew. I think they've just released their details on the stock exchange. I don't know, maybe 50, well over 50% of growth year to year anyway. But there's a lot of doctors and practitioners and blah, 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 like you taking a look. Why? Because two things has happened out of this pandemic is people who want to do something about their health, and people have been shown how vulnerable they are with their financial reserves. Can't promise you anything, but if you're open, I'd love you to watch this 2-3 minute video, and then I would love to get you in front of some of the people in the United Kingdom that are spearheading this. Their names Martin and Hannah, and then you give them a bit of a credibility about what they do. Now, all of a sudden, you're not the ones going, look at me, look at me, look at me, look what I can do for you, and they'll go, yeah, how well are you doing then, Faye? You go, I just got started. How do you point to someone else and you share someone else's story?
Dave, also a little bit about sort of how early on we are in Zinzino and the prospects, you know, over the next few years, what we're looking at, you know, if because I think that's really important, and I think that's what gets a lot of us excited with this, because we are in the very early stages, and I think that if we do, you know, if we do put some work into this, the potential. I just want to know a little bit about the potential with the company.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've been part of $2 billion companies who were already at $1 billion a year when I joined. You could still make money, but I didn't catch the wave. So here's a company that's taken 8 years last year to get to 180,000 customers, had tested 270,000 individual dry blood spots. 12 months later, they almost did what they took 8 years to do. So what that tells me is they've got the system down. So now you find the right leadership and see what their vision is. 1 million, 20 million, 100 million. So 273,000, 83,000 customers now. If they're going to add nearly 750,000 in the next 36 months, United Kingdom has 60 million people in it. If we just go and put 200,000 customers on the product, not in the business, there's people on this call be making 50 to 100,000 a month in the next 36 months. But I tell people that's, you know, that's potential. But I tell people more importantly, right? And we all have got different backgrounds. From Faye, thank you, you're a nurse. I'll get to know each and every one of you. But how many of you would, and this is relative to everyone, right? Forget what you do. How many of you would like in the next 12 to 18 months be in a position where the business has generated enough revenue where you can start to breathe mortgage-free air? How many of you would like to just take your mortgage payment and it now becomes disposable income because you replaced it? See, that could be different for Faye than it could be with Sharon. But you know, that's a common thread, right? Why don't we have retirement parties in the next 36 months where we're going and picking up Faye from nursing, not because she wants to quit nursing, but she's tired of the politics of nursing and wants to do nursing 2 days a week because that's what her passion is.
Yeah.
I've been part of this, guys, where I've seen millionaire after millionaire, truck driver, dentist, cardiologist. I've seen orthodontists. I've seen painters. I've seen waitresses. I've seen it. At 19, 20 years old, I'm driving a $750,000 Prevost motorhome down I-75 in Florida, where the guy was a beach bum, beer drinking, dope smoking surfer boy, a guy called Brig Hart, who's made over 200 million in network marketing. I've been at a Prevost motor coach dealership where I've gone there. This guy's all in his flip-flops and blonde hair. I'm in my kickers, in my Quicksilver shorts, and this young kiddie comes out and says, "What would you like?" He said, "We'd like to look around these $1 million coaches." This is back in '92. And the little guy goes running in eagerly to the sales manager, and the sales manager looks out the window, looks at two beach bums.
Yeah.
And he says, can you get them off the parking lot because they're lowering the tone of the Prevost dealership? Look, there's too many people up their own rear ends, right? How many of you just want to roll over in the morning rather than roll out because you can? Okay, get up when you're done. Okay, so I'm at this dealership at 20 years, 21 years young, and this young boy comes out and says, I've been asked to ask you to leave the premises. And Briggs only 5'7". Go and Google him. Brig Hart made over 200 million. He was like my person who enrolled me. Then it was him. He was the guy who taught me network marketing. But I had to come back from Florida, and guess who was my number one dream stealer? My mum. My mum, bless her. Oh, I've heard all of this before. They're door-to-door soap selling. Mum, but Mum, you lick stamps and nothing. I bless her, God rest her soul. But she had 2 jobs. Soldering PC balls and working from home, putting stamps on envelopes to put food on the table. Now she's telling me I can't be an entrepreneur. Right? So I'm in this dealership, and eventually the salesman comes out and says, I would like you to leave. And he goes back in. And the Briggs said, tell the guy that we want to buy a Prevost coach today. This is God's honest truth. The guy came out and he said, I've asked you to leave. And Brig Hart pulled out a Black American Express. If you know anything about a Black American Express, it's unlimited. And the guy took the card, went in thinking clearly we'd stolen it or found it, rang American Express, put the phone down, walked out and said, Mr. Hart, how can I help you? The story is, don't prejudge people, as Martin was sharing with you, and find people that want more out of life who are willing to do a bit extra for it. But if you've got a product that works, you've got a validation independent laboratory, we've got a product that is required by the masses, as we all know, then why don't we be the global entrepreneurs that go and put 200,000 customers on this product in the next 24 months and help you breathe mortgage-free air?
We can definitely have a piece of that pie.
Yeah,
We can definitely have a juicy piece of that pie. Definitely.
What I will tell you is now we opened, now the UK is open, now we got a sales director, now we have to go official. Now Steve Morley has to report each Monday to the other European general managers. The other general managers are now telling the other leaders that have been around 10 years, it's time to go and grab some land mass in the United Kingdom. And there's people getting started right now, not in our team. There's one guy in Manchester, Liverpool, he's a doctor. He's put in 481 people in 3 weeks. Started May the 8th and May the 31st. He's a director, never done network marketing before. So.
Who's that, Dave? Who's put 481 people in?
So another team. So what I would say is, what is your goal? Are you willing to put 10 or 15 hours in a week of leverage effort? Work as a team. Work as a team. Learn the basics. Those who get good at inviting will be the ones who make the most. Learn that when we invite a customer, we don't talk business at all because we don't want to scare them off. The invitation for a product is totally different to the invitation for the business. And go to set yourself five good conversations a day. You just go into Waitrose and you put in a trolley and you get back in the car before you turn the ignition on. Hey, and I may even do this, right? I'll finish with this because I can talk forever, right? But look, I'm not a skilled man, but I've just enrolled a nutritionist in Guildford. She's from Guatemala, and she said, I really don't know a lot of people. I said, great, just go and put in nutritional therapist in Surrey. Ring, ring. I'll show you how old I am. All right, a dial phone. Okay, ring, ring. Is that Hannah Casella? Yeah. Hey, Hannah, this is Dave Ives. You don't know me, but I was actually working with a group of nutritional therapists in Surrey. That's where I found her, right? And I've just partnered with a handful of nutritional therapists who've aligned themselves with a wellness company on test-based nutrition. And I found you on a database. Let me ask you a quick question. Dave, that is really, really unprofessional. Hannah, not a problem. I wish you well.
Yeah, do you know what, Dave? Do you know, just on the back of that, I've started to be like, if people are not interested, we've talked within our team, we've talked about not convincing people. You know, as soon as you go into convincing mode, stop yourself, because you do not want to be carrying a dead weight with you. And I think the way I feel now is like, you know, we're going to make it without you. So if here's your invitation into it, if you don't want to be part of it, that's fine. I've shared that with you, but we're going to freaking make it without you. So I'm not, and this was the other thing that we also talked about as a team, was not being attached to the outcome of any one conversation. You know, not being sort of het up over people or thinking that this person is going to make or break my business. You know, it's never like that. Like Dave says, you know, there's so many opportunities, there's so many people. But yeah, Dave, honestly, you are amazing. I love every time we have you on. Honestly, I love hearing your story. I think you've got an amazing story, and I think it's really valuable for all of us to listen to that. And also, guys, remember that Dave is our upline. So if anybody needs to talk to Dave or wants to get Dave on a phone call with a prospective partner, you know, me and Martin, we know so much, but Dave knows so much. So you know, he knows a lot more. So if anybody wants to, you know, utilize Dave, then, you know, I'm sure Dave will agree that that's fine. And we want to work as a team in order to make this a real success. But thank you so much, Dave.
You're welcome, welcome. I would say,
Has anyone got any questions for Dave at all? Can I just say, has anyone got anything they want to ask him just before anyone at all? Nothing.
all I would say, folks, is Mexico is the trip next year, and it's going to be world class. This company doesn't do anything by half. So, you know, one, find out what is it going to take to be in Mexico free of charge. Two, then break the goal back down to today and see how we need to start going. But can you imagine, just if there's 11 people on here, Ruth, David Taylor, that doesn't look like a David Taylor to me, but Heather, Faye, Lisa, Sharon, Chris, and people. What if we were all arriving at Manchester Airport next year to go to Mexico, because together we worked smart? Because it's easy, I don't know where the strategy is, but sometimes it's easier to help the deepest person go director and then work our way back up, because all they got to do is build the balance of that. So if you strategically work together, not how do I go director, it's how do we break directors? That will be a better concept of thinking.
And we'll have fun doing it as well. Definitely. And also, guys, you know, I know we've been saying about, like Hannah and I, we have that whiteboard and we write our weekly sort of goal and we write our monthly, and we've got like a 6 month period, and we have them, and it honestly, it works. Having that goal on that board, what you're going to achieve by that week or by end of the month or the 6 months, and we've got our 6 month and our 12 month up there. It really does work. So write it down, have it there on your things.
Somewhere
we got about 3 weeks left, folks, and there's no reason why we can't help each and every one of you get to platinum and get on the plane to Oslo to the founders' home.
Yeah.
You know, because Hannah and Martin are going to be unbearable if you let them go on their own. Because when they come back, they're going to be like Tasmanian devils and develettes, because they thought they were excited. They're going to come back absolutely off the chart because they've seen the evidence. So the key is, how do I go platinum? Let's work together for 21, 24 days of, you know, outside of my, whatever you may believe in, outside of your family, outside of your commitments to earning money, then prioritize this. And that's why the calendar in your Express Start is so important. Okay. Make this a priority for a season. You'll work yourself out of work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we keep saying to each other, you know, work smarter, not harder. That's what we intend to do.
Nice meeting you, beautiful faces. This is a beautiful looking group, actually. I'm going to have to learn how to, I'm going to have to start reading I'm going to have to read some self-development books, because you make me feel inferior, particularly Chris's hair. I thought mine was doing well, but look at Chris's. How does he keep it like that?
I'm not even doing it today, Dave. I just got out of bed this morning. I've not even done it.
All right, guys. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Thank you. Right, guys. He's good, isn't he? Yeah, he's good. He's so inspirational. He's got such an amazing story. Yeah, unmute everyone. Yeah, he's got an amazing story, and I think that's what it is with David. His energy's so infectious. You know, when you listen to him, you're like, oh, you really sort of feel it off him. But do you know what, guys? It's a possibility. We can all do really, really well out of this. And like he said, you know, they're aiming to be a multi-billion-pound company. And it's network marketed, so it means that everyone who's contributing to that will get a piece of that pie. So I think that, you know, if we stick to the sort of you know, the way that it runs in the company, get our 4-4-10, that's the first step, then
just
move
concentrate on that.
Yeah,
that's
then,
all you need to focus on.
And then we can sort of get to a point where everyone's doing really well out of this. But yeah, has anyone got any questions, or is everyone cool?
Cool.
Are you all right? Good listening to him though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he's funny, isn't he?
You can see how he can tell a story, and you're just like hanging on every word that he says, and you're like, yeah, here, have my money.
yeah. Well, I know. No, he's good. He is good.
It's gonna be good. We'll have a lot of fun doing this. We
Yeah.
do it right and everything. But like I said, just stick to what we've
Small,
laid out,
bite-sized chunks.
and yeah, break it down. And it's amazing at how, you know, it comes. Even like, I think, you know, like Chris now, you know, he's been sort of you know, Chris, me and Chris have spoken quite a lot, and there's been a lot, we've been chatting and lots of stuff, and then like all of a sudden now Chris you've got like a real flurry of interest, haven't you? And it all builds up, and to the point where now you've got partners wanting to sign, you've got other people interested. So it really does. It sometimes, I think even when we first started, like, you just think, I'm treading a bit of water here, and all of a sudden it takes a few weeks down the line for that feeling of treading water to come to fruition, but it will come.
I think also, like, it's a cheesy line, but you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because
definitely
some of the things that you're going to try and do are going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. The first few conversations I had, but that's why, to be honest with you, I have dialed it right back, and I've just kept it really simple, and that's what's kind of hooked my last 3 partners. And I've not told them, like Hannah said about the dating thing, not told them too much. Do you know what? You've got the best content online on the YouTube channel and in the back office to support anything. And also, I don't think there's anybody who would go, oh, do you know what? I'm not interested in improving my health. So it's the process I follow is send them the Paul Clayton video. That's either the 12-minute one or the 30-minute one. And I just say, spare me 30 minutes and watch this. And as soon as they watch that, they go, right, okay, tell me more. And then that's when I'll just
one thing I will say as well is, like, you do get a lot of wet fishes in your face. Like, you've got to get used to having the, like, not, you know, it not work. It's hard. It's not easy. You know,
I spoke to you last time as well. You said that when you've done it once and you keep doing it, you do learn from that process, and you get something out of each one, and you're like, yeah, why didn't that go right? Or
I made a call last night to a doctor in Ireland who, I mean, he's a sort of, I would say he's a friend of mine. He's a good acquaintance, a colleague and things, but I've always got on really well with him, but I was absolutely dreading the call, and I've obviously got used to this now, and I was really not. I thought there's absolutely no way. And afterwards, he said, you know what? He said, he was building his own house for him. He said, if I wasn't doing that, he said, I'd be well up for this. He said, but I'll tell you what, he said, my wife will be. He said, so I'm going to have a chat with her, send me all the stuff over. And I couldn't, as I was talking to him, I was almost talking myself out of it, because I felt like there was no way he was going to go for it. And then at the end, what he said to me blew me away. And he said, if I wasn't doing this, I would jump on it myself. But my wife, who runs the practice, she'll be definitely into this. So, you know, you will feel like that, but people will surprise you.
But then at the same time, there's a lot of conversations I've had that have just been dud. It's not gone anywhere, or it's not happened. And I'm you know, so, and you, the same thing. Like, you know, it's not all rosy. It doesn't, not every single person.
No, I'm not saying it is.
No, what I'm saying is that, you know, at the same time, I think like Chris said, you've got to learn to feel comfortable with being uncomfortable, because there's been loads of times where we've gone, you know, we've had really shit days and we thought, this is crap, we can't do it. You know, I can't, tell this person how good it is. I can't sell it to anyone. You do have days like that as well. But I think it's just persistent.
I think also, Hannah, like when I've had ones and it's not gone the way that, I want, and I thought I really want this person on the team. When they've expressed, when it's not gone the way I've won, genuinely, when you're saying don't judge people as well. Obviously I'm judging, thinking, oh yeah, I really want you on the team. Some of them by the end of the call, I'm like, I wouldn't really want you on the team because I don't really like the way that people I've known for, not personal people, but people I've seen and thought, you are like a snazzy business person. I like your demeanour. When you see them, they're quite closed and they're a bit arrogant, some of them. And I thought, actually, I don't really want you on, so I'm quite okay, actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That does as well.
Also, you've got to remember, I've said this before, you'll approach someone now where you're not very polished and you're still learning, and they'll say no to you. And then once they start seeing a bit of traction on social media, and that's the thing is, I always say about visibility, credibility equals opportunity. The more visible you are, the more people you ring, the more posts you're on social media.
People on that yacht, they'll all be gutted.
To someone yesterday.
Told you 8 months ago, could have been on the yacht.
To someone yesterday, and he really didn't think that, and she was all for it, and then she was like, and actually my son, he's really into health, and he's an entrepreneur and he'd love it, and actually I've got this friend as well. So Chris came off, I was like, I just got 3. So
yeah, swings and roundabouts. Yeah.
Also,
Sorry.
States, just to let you know, me and Mark were on the phone to Davis today. If you know anyone in the States, for 25 subscriptions, you get 1,500 quid a month.
Yeah, in the States, they've got a really, like for an American, you don't have to be a partner in America, but if you've got American customers, it properly banks. For every 25 customers, you get about an extra, it's mental.
1,500 quid.
It's a different remuneration system for American customers. Don't know why. It's something to do with the rules and regs, but if you can get a group of customers in the States on this, you're flying.
Yeah. I'm visiting every BNI chapter. I'm literally going to be American for the next 3 weeks.
Has anyone else got any questions, or is everyone cool? Yeah. Good.
I think as well, like when you've had the phone call conversation, I had one on Wednesday morning, and I think I lost about 5 kilos in sweat the hour before the phone call, thinking I was going to have like either an aneurysm or an embolism, one or the other. And then after the phone call, it was such a great, nothing happened. It was just a conversation, but it was a real high. And then I checked my social media and I was chatting to somebody on that, and somebody just literally kidney punched me saying, this is network marketing, I'm not interested. All right, my beaut, and piss off basically. And I was like, oh, this is my day.
Sharon, someone commented on my Instagram today saying I'm not even a real doctor, like, you know what I mean, or something like that. Just forget about it.
I think that's when you've got to go back to the dating, and it's a swipe left, swipe right. Next.
I had a troll on today, yeah.
There will be trolls. Oh,
There'll be trolls when you're on the yacht. They'll be saying, oh, it's superimposed.
Yeah, it's fake. Fake picture.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
Fake. Oh, yeah. So yeah, guys. I think that was really good. I think it was good to speak to Dave, and I'm going to put Dave's number in the group. So if anybody needs to use Dave in a 3-way call or anything like that, then he's there. So I think he's quite good for like the network marketed and the business side of it. I think he's really good. And when I sort of earwigged between you and Chris, and when you had Dave on, I thought he was a good addition because he was really he knows a lot about the industry. So yeah. I've been sipping gin all the way through this, guys. Well,
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm on the vodka.
Cheers.
I was just saw Faye drinking it. I thought, that's it, I'm having one.
Yeah. Look at Faye. What's she got? I was like,
A bucket.
I'm like, what a wine.
yeah, I'm on hot water.
Can't wait till this bloody lockdown's over and we can have a big Zinzino party at ours.
Yeah.
Honestly, can't wait. Yeah.
Well, cheers, guys, and have a lovely weekend.
Have a good weekend. All right. Take it easy, guys. Ruth, I'm going to message you in a minute about that thing. So, yeah. All right.
Oh, see you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.